5, 4, 3.
We're live.
You want me to start it? Okay, I'll
We're
start it. What's
live.
going on, everyone? We're back for another evening chat. Oh my God. One of these days, I'm going to start this thing off really clean. Ready? Take two again. We're back. What Were You Thinking is back, presented by World's Greatest here on FanFest. Mike Furman, alongside Devon Allen, once again, co-host and Olympian extraordinaire. What's going on tonight, Devon?
I'm doing well. Had a good day of training today. A lot of good things are happening on the track for me, and so I'm excited about my next race coming up, and I'm excited to watch some Olympic sports here tonight before I go to bed.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. I went to bed super late last night watching that USA versus Canada women's hockey game, which was the most exciting second period I've ever seen. Other than that, well, I guess the first period was good. We should have won. We should have won. Outshot them like 15-3, and we're still trailing after one. And then there were like 5 goals scored in the second. It was crazy. And then the third, it didn't really happen. But we didn't win. Hopefully in the next one. I'm really looking forward to the next one. The women's hockey is great when it should just be US and Canada best of 7 series, I think.
Like a
I
playoffs,
mean,
yeah. That's what
right?
it's what it's going to end up being, anyways, for the most part. I don't want to jinx it, knocks on wood, but it's group play right now, so a loss early is not the biggest deal.
Yeah. Well, it's every win matters. You always like to be positioned to, in the knockout round have the lesser of the opponents. But again, I mean, it's USA and Canada. It's like this is all just a formality. Yesterday was just a preview of what the final is going to be. So there you go. We have our tweet up here right now from yesterday. We had an awesome conversation. I had an absolute blast with Logan Sankey, the ski jumper, and Henry Wynn. Over like 100,000 views on Twitter. Exceptional. I couldn't believe it.
That's
So
pretty
thank you
big.
all for watching on Twitter. You can watch us on Twitter. You can watch us on Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube. We're also live on the FanFest platform, watch.fanfest.io/world's greatest, except without vowels in the world's greatest part. We have a chat room going live. So if you want to join the chat, by all means, you can join the chat. I see someone named Tess in the chat right now. Coincidentally, that we also have a guest named Tess, don't we?
We have her coming on in a few minutes here.
It's gonna be her. Yeah, it's the same one.
Uh,
It's the same Tess.
It's the same test. Yeah, I'm excited to talk about a little bit of Nordic Combined. It's interesting learning about all these sports just because we see them on TV. On during the Winter Olympics, especially, and we don't really know much other than what we see. So it's good to get the
Right.
athletes, kind of behind the scenes and like what they do for training. What their seasons are structured like, where they travel, what they do in the off season. I was looking at Tessa's Instagram earlier today, and she's some very cool, interesting training avenues to get around when there's no snow on the ground. So I'm excited to ask her about that. And yeah, I'm just excited about the Olympic movement in general, and just love watching these sports and getting to learn more about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting because there's so many intricacies in all of these different, we were talking about ski jumping and all the science that goes behind it. Nordic Combined that we're going to talk about today, which is actually 2 disciplines combined into one sport, which includes cross country as well as the ski jumping. And it's nothing I've ever really done. So it's really cool to hear about it from a, super fan, from a spectator's perspective. And then of course, being the elite athlete that you are, Devon, I'm sure it's just a whole. It's great to have a conversation in a sport that's almost a complete 180 from what you do.
For sure. And I've been known to dabble in a few different events, and or sports, so I know how hard it can be to
Right.
master each of the events, right? So to do 2 events at once can be very challenging, and it can be something that takes a lot of time to learn. And Tess coming on in a second, she's going to be able to tell us all about it.
Yeah. Of course, Nordic Combined only in the Olympics for the men. So that's something I definitely want to talk to Tess about. It's not a sport in the Olympics for women, yet there are women all over the planet who are excelling at the sport. So definitely excited to have that conversation. Also, Aidan Owens is going to be joining us today, and down there in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and I'm actually keeping my eye on Arkansas today for college basketball because they just went to overtime against number one Auburn. So that could be a massive SEC
Ups.
upset tonight.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
not
Wow.
Olympics, but it's sports and it's Razorbacks. So we'll talk about it. Unless they don't end up winning, at which point we won't talk much about it. But we'll bring on Tess very soon. Our producers will be doing so. If this is the first time that you've watched this show, we call it What Were You Thinking because we like to get inside the heads of these elite athletes, no matter what sport, find out what they're thinking about all aspects of their career, about certain moments of their career. So that's why it's called What Were You Thinking? And we like to laugh and we like to learn, and that's what we're going to be doing today. To laugh and to learn is kind of like the pillar for World's Greatest, for all things that we do here at World's Greatest. We make videos, we also have these live shows. You can follow World's Greatest on Twitter at World's Greatest without the vowels, or on Instagram at World's Greatest Team, or youtube.com/World's Greatest. There's some really, really cool documentary type stuff there. And I think this year we're going to do some documentary stuff on you, Devon. We got to get down there and do some stuff with you.
Yeah, I hope so. And I was joking with my friends, when I was telling them about you guys coming down, I was like, well, the training stuff is very, very interesting, but they're going to have a hard time when they see me post training, just watching TV and playing video games for 6 hours a day. But that's okay.
No, we'll go on stream. We do have a Twitch account. I didn't shout out the World's Greatest Twitch account because I'm not sure if our stream's going there for this specific show. But we'll get down on some Warzone. I mean, elite athlete. That's dexterity. What you're doing here, right?
A reaction time all the way.
It's a hand-eye coordination skills that you have. I find it interesting how so many, especially track and field athletes, are so great at gaming. Henry Witt, who we had yesterday, he gets down on Warzone. Oh yeah, he's big time gamer. You're sitting in your gamer chair.
Hey, you know what? To be honest, gaming chairs aren't really that comfortable. So overrated product. But hey, I got it. It's my only chair that I use for my desk. But if I were to get a different chair, I'd maybe just get like an ergonomic office chair that's a little bit more comfortable.
Got it. So we're trying to bring Tess on stage here for a great conversation. I just pressed the button. We'll see. Maybe there's a little bit of a lag. Oh,
there she is.
As I say that, there she is. What's going on, Tess? How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Good. Okay. Great. I'm happy that we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
No technical difficulties.
2 days in a row. Knock on wood.
Let's go. All right. So Tess, I just want to start this off. I'm just going to throw you right into it. Why don't you tell everyone who's watching who you are and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Tess Arnone, and I am a Nordic Combined athlete, which is ski jumping and skate skiing.
Why? Why'd you get into that? How'd you get into that? Tell us the whole backstory. Give us your life story in 60 seconds. Let's do that.
I started ski jumping when I was 3 and started skate skiing when I was 7. I've been on skis since 18 months and just been doing Nordic Combined and ski jumping since I was 7 and 3.
So how, at 18 months, how did you find yourself on skis? Would just like your parents just strapped you in and were like, you're going jumping? Like what happened?
Pretty much. I mean, if you can stand, you can ski. I've been walking since I was 16 months. So they're like, you're fine. Here you go.
As long as you can stand up. Yeah.
Great video right here showing the ski jumping right here, which is and we've been saying it all week. Looks like one of the most terrifying career paths that you could possibly take. Do you find it scary? Do you feel fear?
I mean, sometimes you can kind of see one of the things I've been dealing with is a mental block with my arms where I pull them out and kind of do this. But
like flap, like try to fly?
Well, it's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to keep your arms quiet, but I mean, that's definitely something that I guess you could see as fear, but I mean, by the time you're jumping a hill about that size, it's kind of like maybe I get a little nervous on a new hill, but it's not really fear, I would say.
It's pretty crazy to me. I think, I do an event where I jump. I'm a hurdler, so I jump over hurdles. And sometimes in practice and training, I kind of get those same kind of arms. to balance myself as well. So it's pretty interesting to me, how all these sports are so different, and we still use the same mechanisms to like try to regain balance and like kind of naturally, get to, and on top of that, trying to kind of train those bad habits out of there, right? Like, and you're still young, Tess. You got a lot of career left, and I'm sure that you're getting better and better as you get older as well. So, being in a sport like this, like track and field, and ski jumping and skiing, is pretty impressive in the sense that it takes a lot of dedication, takes a lot of time and effort to kind of master it. Which once you get to like a high level of athleticism, is kind of where you are. The technical part is really, really important.
So where are you calling us from? Because I mentioned earlier that Nordic Combined is not a sport in the Olympics for women. So I'm kind of curious where you're hitting us up from right now.
I'm at home right now in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. So
seems like a popular spot.
Yeah, is that where you're originally from?
Yeah, I was born here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, you've talked with Logan and Eric. Both of them are from Steamboat.
Wow.
Right. I was gonna say, it's like everyone seems to be from Steamboat. It's like I haven't heard of this place, but 3 days ago I was introduced to it, and now just like everyone in the world happens to be from there. So when the Olympics are on, I'm kind of curious how you watch them. Like, do you tune into every event? Obviously, some people who are over there. Are you just rooting people on? Are you watching for technical reasons? How exactly do you watch the games?
I kind of just watch it to enjoy it. I mean, I definitely have watched all of the ski jumping, and will probably watch all of the Nordic Combined streamings. It's kind of to cheer on, and just kind of like, it's really tough, like avoiding the social media until I watch it in the morning to kind of like bypass this is who won. But
you're not staying up till 4 a.m.
No. Yeah.
No.
No, not many of us can, because we have to get up and train. And Tess, I know you're heading off to Europe tomorrow, I believe, right? Yep. You got some competitions coming soon. Can you tell us a little bit about the competitions, for one, and then two, I want to go into like a deep dive, in about a minute or two. Explain Nordic Combined to somebody that's never heard of the event before. Kind of explain how it works. I've been reading about it. Obviously, I've seen it in the Olympics, but still kind of confusing to me. So I need someone that's an expert to explain it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I leave tomorrow, and I'm headed to Lillehammer, Norway, for a Continental Cup, which is how I explain it to people is like the level right below World Cup. And so Nordic Combined is like, you jump and you get one jump instead of two, like normal special jumping. We're critiqued on the style of like what we do, and so like if we put in a telemark landing, or if we keep our arms quiet in the air, and those points go towards our standing for like the race. So the person that wins the jumping, who goes the farthest and has the best style points, will start at 0 seconds. And usually it's 15 points per minute back after that, or like not after that, but like the standard is 15 points per minute. So depending on how many points back you are, that's how much time is between the first place person and like all the other places. And it's pretty much whoever crosses the finish line first wins.
So it's super advantageous to be a good ski jumper, or at least, like you said, quiet in the air. Are they keeping track of distance when you take that jump, or is it just all about like the technical stuff?
It's about distance as well. If you don't go to a certain distance, there's some deduction of points, and they call them distance points. So
okay, so it's
depending on the size of the hill.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I actually watched the biathlon yesterday, I believe, and so it's kind of similar in the sense that the better jumper you are and the better shooter you are in the biathlon, the more advantageous it is, in the ski racing. But there are some athletes in each of those events that are really, really strong skiers and, can kind of get away with not being as good of a jumper or a shooter. So in your opinion, what's your strongest event? Like, what are you best at?
I'm better at the skiing right now. Ski jumping is super technical, and some people it clicks really well, and some people it takes a little longer. But
Yeah, how long have you been
ski
doing
racing, right? Or like,
how long have you been doing the ski jumping? I know, we talked about like you being three years old, but at the level that you're at, how many years have you been competing, at this, pro, youth, junior level? Like what age did you start competing, in this event?
I've been competing internationally for 6 or 7 years. COC level for 5.
Okay, so
I've
when you were about like
and the
12 years
US
old.
10.
So you've been competing at
Yeah.
a high level since you were 12.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. Or younger than that, but
so you mentioned Lillehammer right now. It's like the stage below World Cup. I don't know what that means. Can you kind of explain, like, what are those tiers of competition in the world of Nordic Combined?
So World Cup is kind of the highest other than World Championships and the Olympics. And from there, you kind of like have like the tiers a little bit. You have to be 15 to be at a COC, and so there's that kind of level, and each country has like different qualifications, but in the US it's kind of like if you're on the junior national team, which is just like our national team for the juniors.
mm-hmm.
You usually get a start at least once a year, if you're doing pretty well and showing some potential.
Okay.
And then from COCs, if you get points at Continental Cups, sometimes they'll take you to World Cups.
Okay, so I was just about to ask that. So the qualifying is kind of, you move up to the Continental Cup, you do well there, that you qualify for the World Cup, you do well there. In theory, you would qualify for the Olympics. Hopefully soon that event's in the Olympics, but for the women, it's in the men. But for the women's side, so you would have to qualify in the World Cup to move up to the next. Is that kind of how the men are doing it? Like, what's the qualifying process for that event for the Olympic Games? Is there like meets that you have to go to specifically, or are you just collecting points at the Continental Cup?
There's kind of some different ways to go about qualifying for the Olympics. We have a criteria that we release usually like 2.5 years prior to the Olympics. And yeah, World Cup points are usually at the top of that, and then they kind of go like ranking wise.
Mm-hmm.
So if you win Olympic trials, you get a spot.
Mm-hmm.
But then they go off of the criteria, which is like, if you have the most World Cup points and you haven't qualified yet, you're probably going to be the next person that they put on that team. And then goes into like Continental Cup and FIS Cup points.
Awesome.
There you go. So we'll get back to that in a little bit, but you may have noticed that another friendly face has joined the chat. So I just want to introduce our friend Aidan Owens down there. And are you coming to us from Fayetteville? Is that where you're at right now?
I am. Yeah, in Arkansas.
There you go. Are you watching the basketball game right now or no? I won't spoil if you're not.
Look, I left because of this. I was sad.
No!
That's
dedication. Hey,
yeah.
That's
Okay.
dedication for 100,000 viewers.
Now I hope that they lose, so that way you didn't miss out on anything. So
That's what I said. I said I hope we get blown out.
Oh no!
What's the score?
Yeah. You guys are up by 3 with a half minute left in overtime. Wow. So yeah, sorry. Wow. So it's not every day you get to upset number one. But it's not every day that you get to come here and talk to such friendly faces. True. So yeah, so Aidan Owens, someone who's on the Bowerman watch list. If you're not paying attention to Aidan, you should be, because one of the most up and coming runners in track and field right now, in college track and field. So Aidan, real quick, we started off the same way with Tess. I want to start it off with you. Just give us a quick rundown. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, man. First, well, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. I'm excited to learn about Nordic Combined, obviously, and talk to my fellow friends, Mike and Devon. But yeah, I'm a decathlete from Pittsburgh, PA. I'm running at Arkansas now, and I do 10 events in track and field. So hurdle, sprints, jumps, everything, throws. For anyone who's not familiar with the decathlon. But yeah, I went to 3 different schools. I've been to USC, Michigan, and now at Arkansas in grad school. So obviously trying to push to get to that next level and see how far I can go.
There you go. So obviously it's the question that every decathlete is asked, right? What do you best at in the deck? Because there are so many different disciplines. It's so difficult. Devon, I'm sure you've tried a decathlon once or twice, and
I've done a couple of
suck with the hurdles.
decathlons. I did a couple of decathlons in high school, and actually, I'm sure if you're a decathlete, you know who Tim Duckworth is. He actually beat me by 15 points in the high school deck. So I just super upset just because I couldn't pole vault at the time and I couldn't throw the javelin. So he crushed me in those events and caught up in the last day.
Yeah.
So what is it? What do you like to do? What do you not like to do? There's got to be an event 1 out of 10 that you just hate. I'm guessing it's the 800,
it's
right?
kind of the 15. No, it's kind of evolved.
Or 15, excuse
I've
me.
gotten better. Yeah. So I used to suck at a lot of the field events, like the more technical events, the jumps. And I've always been fast. I've always been pretty explosive. So the hurdles were really like my first love, I'd say. I was always pretty talented throughout high school and even earlier on in my collegiate days. So the hurdles are probably my best event, although I think I get more points now in the 100 and the 400. So yeah. And so my least favorite event's got to be javelin, man. That hurts. I actually tore my labrum a couple of years ago just throwing it. It's like a crazy, unnatural like technique that it takes to like figure that out. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I feel you on the javelin. Every time I throw it, my back like literally just crushes my back, and yet you do that, and then you go right to the 1500, in 30 minutes, and it's just a nightmare. So, kudos to you for doing that, and actually one of my best friends, Mitch Modine, he's a decathlete. He was decathlete at the University of Oregon, did well there, and placed 5th at the Olympic trials in 2016. So I got to spend a lot of time with him and his training, and I kind of know how rigorous it can be. What is your favorite event to train for? Because you said you get more points in the 100 and the 400, but no one likes to train for the 400, and that's just being realistic. So, what's your favorite event? Do you like long jumping? Do you like high jumping?
No, that's funny. I was gonna say 400. That's
Oh
my favorite
no!
type of training, like my favorite style. I'm not joking. Like lactic, like training for the lactic, man. All fall running hills, things like that. Like yeah, I like the 400 quarter mile workouts. Like that's my go-to. But I think it's because I'm like decent at the 400. Most people wouldn't say it. Like most decathletes would not say that. Probably say pole vault. I'd say pole vault's my second favorite because it's just fun. You get to get high, not as high as Nordic Combined or ski jumping, but you get to get pretty high. So that's fun.
That was a funny thing that we talked about yesterday. We had on Logan, and we talked about the similarities and like training between ski jumping, especially because she's a ski jumper, and track and field. And we had a couple of videos of her doing plyometrics, doing box jumps, and stuff like that. So it's very, very interesting to kind of see that all the athletes kind of do similar stuff, in basic, speed and power development, which is pretty cool. Tess, I want to go take it back to you real quick because we're talking about the summer sports and track and field. And I saw a picture on your Instagram of you wearing these kind of like long roller skate-esque things. And it looked like you had ski poles. Exactly that. Can you explain what that is? And obviously it's a training device used for when there's no snow, but kind of tell me when you use those.
So this is a roller ski. It's kind of like rollerblade, but it has 2 wheels and your foot goes here.
Right in the middle.
Mm-hmm. So it has like a skate ski binding on it. So like
you can use your regular boots.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And we just have different like pull tips which swap out pretty easily. But yeah, it replicates skiing pretty much, just in the summer, and you can roll around, and
What's
it's really hard
easier?
to stop.
Yeah, what's easier? Because snow and asphalt's much different, and one of them has to be a little bit easier.
Well, there's definitely a little less resistance on roller skis because it's just, rolling rather than sliding and friction. Um, but it's also pretty hard to like stop, and I feel like it's a little harder to control it, and there's a lot more of a concern if you fall. Snow is a lot more forgiving than asphalt.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
This picture of you guys in New York City, though, I'm just curious, real quick. How many weird looks do you get when you strap those things on and just go around the city? Because it's not every day you see someone on those roller skis.
That was actually in Central Park, so it was. There were definitely, skiing on that road. People were like, "Who is that? What is going on here?"
But it is New York City, so that's not the craziest thing that's happened in
There's
Central
a lot
Park.
weirder things that happen, yeah, on an hourly basis. Yeah, absolutely. The other similarity, though, you were talking about pole vaulting versus ski jumping. I also got to point out the similarity that you got to be kind of a little bit crazy to do both sports, right? Like just a little bit of that that crazy factor, because you are just kind of, with pole vaulting, you're throwing yourself up there, and if you have any fear, you don't clear the bar, right? With ski jumping, I'm assuming it's got to be very much the same way, right? Once you start going down, you're not stopping, right? So I'm just kind of curious what it is that that you guys have been able to do to kind of conquer that fear of those events, or maybe even conquer is not the right word so much as just I don't know, ignore the fear to be able to do it.
Yeah. Well, I actually was wondering, I had a question for Tess, and the way that I think the pole vault might be different from ski jumping is that I can actually bail out, right? I don't have to take the jump up, and I don't have to land that, like, I only lose maybe 10 feet. I've come down, but she's coming down a couple hundred feet. So I was just wondering, like, can you bail out? Have you ever bailed out, or you just gotta like full send and just take it? You know what I mean? If you're ever like feeling iffy about the jump.
I mean, there's kind of ways to safely like kind of be like almost test it out a little bit, where like you don't really push down all the way, but I mean, it's a sheet of ice with like grooves that are like this deep in it.
Mhm.
So you're kind of
You're stuck.
you get off the bar, you're going.
That's
Yeah, that's
scary.
wild.
How is it? Is it a push off, or is it more like the gate goes down and you just kind of start going? What exactly is the starting mechanism there?
So it's like a bar, like a solid bar of like steel, that you slide out on, because you got to put your skis on, and then because the in run is steep. I think it's 38 degrees downward,
Okay.
which is yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I'm not doing it. Okay, go on. So you have your skis on. What, you have to kind of shimmy out there to the middle?
Yep, you slide out on the bar, you kind of pull. I mean, sometimes on the Olympics, or if you're watching other events, they show the person getting on and off the bar if there's wind holds or whatnot. But yeah, you just kind of pull yourself out with your arms, and you turn your feet from like sideways to like straight down the hill and put them in the tracks. And then some people choose to push off the bar. There's some theories about it not being as fast for like in-run speeds, because it could cause you to push in or out on the track, which slows you down a little bit.
Interesting.
Oh no, look at that. See, it's just I'm like, I get goosebumps just looking at a tweet like this one that just came up, but you actually go up there. What were you thinking the first time that you went up to like that top gate at like the biggest hill in your life? Like, what kind of a moment was that for you?
It was just kind of like super nervous, butterflies in my stomach, a little nauseous. But then you get out in the air, and it's just this massive hill, and you just are a little dot, and you just feel like you're going in slow motion, like down the hill, because it's so much bigger than the other ones.
When you're up there, is it peaceful, or like is the wind just whipping around and like oh
Oh
no.
no, wind can be a problem. We like headwind, That's when it's coming up the hill because that
Right.
causes lift. Cross and swirling wind are usually, yeah, there's the bars.
Oh, sheesh.
Cross and swirling wind are kind of not our friends, especially when we have some lighter people.
Mm-hmm.
One of my teammates is like barely 5 foot and like 95 pounds, and we're like,
She's flying.
maybe don't send him in the raging crosswind.
Yeah.
It's just like a kite. There he goes.
You know, I have a question
picked
for
up
both
and
you
taken
guys.
away.
Yeah.
I have a quick question because we were talking about, like butterflies, nerves, and stuff like that. And I find it interesting to kind of see how each athlete deals with, their nervousness before a competition or, even leading up to a big competition. So I want both you guys to kind of give me your like go-to remedy to like stop you from being nervous or how you combat like, feeling really, really nervous before a big competition. So go ahead, Aidan.
Oh dang, put me on the spot.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I don't get nervous that much, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I just have like the way that I approach a competition, at least now, like I wasn't always like this. I used to like be super focused on like the result and like the time or the score that I was trying to get in the deck or the hep. Now it's like I'm more process oriented, obviously, as I've grown in the sport. Like I go in just like I'm just happy to be here. I'm healthy, I'm competing, and like just getting on the start line knowing that like I've been injured before, I've been out, you know what I mean? Like that kind of is what keeps the nerves away from me. And I've been doing it for like this is my 13th year in the sport. So I don't know. There's it's nothing new. It's still 100 meters ever since I was 9 years old running. Like everything's just the same. So I try to remind myself like you're not doing anything new.
So not too nervous when the 1500's up and you gotta win by 15 seconds in order to secure the win. No, you don't feel
Man,
nervous.
in that case, in that case, I'm doing the sign of the cross, man. I need I need help from the Lord.
Please, Lord, just give me wings so I can fly.
Yeah.
What about you, Tess? How do you deal with nerves?
It's just about taking like deep breaths and just getting through what the mental battle. It's just like, can I do this? And it's just that mindfulness of controlling your mind a little bit.
Yeah. What's like the biggest competition you've kind of felt that where you're like, okay, I need to like, I've done this before, taking my one jump, right? And this is important and kind of like gather yourself. What competition was like your biggest or most like nerve-wracking competition?
I feel more of the pressure in the ski jumping
Mhm.
because with like Nordic Combined or like with the cross country part, it's like you just go out there and go as hard as you
Just
can,
go.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Which I mean, you guys are runners, you kind of get that. But like I went to World Championships last year and my first World Cup, and those were the first time for the women having events at those. So those definitely I needed to take some breaths.
So it being the first time the women competed at those events, was it pretty surreal to like, you probably included with, hundreds of other women. I don't know how many women compete, at a time. Did you kind of feel like a little bit of pressure to perform better? I know, when I go to an event and you're expected to do well or something like that, I can feel, a little bit more pressure where I'm like, oh, like everybody's watching me or everybody's, counting on me to do well. And, I kind of, I try not to, because I've been doing it a long time, like you guys both have, try not to let that kind of overwhelm me, but it is difficult. And, sometimes it does get the best of you and you kind of just need to take it with a grain of salt and move on. So how did you compete at that World Cup? Tell me about your places and, how you felt overall about the competition.
I mean, yeah, there's always the pressure. I mean, at the time of the World Cup, my teammate actually, Tara Garrity Moats, won the World Cup and ended up getting the World Cup overall because we only got one because of COVID. But I mean, being one of the younger ones, I didn't feel a ton of pressure. There was 30 of us. We sit under 40 people, usually above 30-ish, 25, 30-ish people in competitions.
Okay, that's awesome.
I don't know. I feel like I am on the younger side of people that are going to some of these higher up events,
Yeah,
and
so not a lot of pressure for
I try
you.
not to think about placing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Fair enough.
do you can you kind of walk us through like your training, what your training atmosphere is, I guess you would say, because it's not, we have Aidan, and he is at a university, major university, with a track pedigree and surrounded by track, and that is something that doesn't really apply to major universities throughout the United States, right? So even if you're in high school or if you're in college, that's not necessarily where you're training and where your team is. So I'm kind of curious what your exact situation is, who you train with, where you're at, if you do go back and forth between Europe and the US or even to Asia for training and competing.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm at home, we have a winter sports club in town, so we have a program, and I mean, it's just showing up with this year we have 6 people in my age group, um, jumping and cross country skiing on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I go back and forth to Europe on a normal year. This year wasn't super normal for me, but yeah, when we're over there, we're usually sometimes we're with the men Nordic combiners, but most of the time, or not most of the time, but a decent amount of the time, it's just Annika Malisinski and
Mm-hmm.
Alexa Brabeck are this year's uh, other national team members.
Is it?
How do you
want to
manage school?
Oh, whoa!
Oh, sorry.
Everyone's
There's
got
a lot
questions.
of questions.
No, Aidan.
Yeah.
No,
A lot
it's
of
Aidan.
questions.
It's Aidan's turn right now to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll ask Tess a question. So I was, let's see. I was wondering like kind of how the training regimen was, because is the only way to train for like cross country skiing to cross country ski, or to like do you run? I'm sure you like deal with lactic like for like a 10K race. I don't know how long they are. I guess you could answer that. But so like, are you training by running, or are you just like skiing around to just get better at it? Like, how do you improve in that?
I mean, it's an endurance sport. I do 5K usually once a year. There's a 7.5K, but the men do 10K, and they did one 12.5K this year. Um, but yeah, during like the summer, we try not to just roller ski all the time because it's a little mind numbing, and it's
Mhm.
not we're not like in season where we need to be on skis every day. So uh we road bike, we hike, we run, we mountain bike on our like own time,
Wow. And
kind of
so
everything.
in the Nordic combined event, is there like a time that you have like 30 minutes between like your jump and like the thing? Like in the decathlon, right? Between each event, you have 30 minutes. So like, how does that work? You like jump and then like the next day you're doing the cross country skiing? I have no idea like what the Nordic combined is really. Sorry.
It it no, it's real good. It kind of depends on what event. I went to a couple this year, and like actually just had one last weekend where we jumped in the morning and in the evening we race, or sometimes we jump in the evening and race the next day in the morning. And it sometimes, I think the shortest turnover I've ever done is like an hour and a half, but it just kind of takes some manpower to set up the cross country course, and usually there's a little bit of time in between. A lot of the higher up competitions, they are the same day.
Hmm. I got a quick question for you, Tess. How do you like, since you're so young, you're 18 years old, how do you manage school and stuff, with all this? Do you go to school, or do you do homeschool? Do you take online classes? You just go to high school like normal and then train around your schedule? I'm super interested in that because for track and field is pretty much like a school oriented sport, and then in college it's also kind of built around your curriculum. But as a sport that doesn't really have a high school team, or not a lot of high school teams, you kind of got to figure out a way to train on your own time. So I'm intrigued on when you go to school and what that looks like for you year round.
School kind of looks different for every person, how they handle it, and what they kind of do to get through it. My freshman and sophomore year, I just went to school normally, and then when I was gone, I had to do catch up work, and COVID actually kind of saved me because I was like 6-7 weeks behind when I got home, and like 2 days later we got shut down due to COVID. But and then for my junior year, I moved to a completely online school, which was last year, and just spent all winter in Europe doing everything online, which was really nice. And then I wanted to graduate from my hometown. So I graduated at December, so I took 8 classes last semester and pretty much didn't travel outside of the country. And now I'm free to go to Europe and I don't have to worry about school.
So you graduated high school. Do you have plans on, I don't want to, rush you or pressure you into going to college, but do you have any plans, moving into the future and what you might want to do?
Yeah, I'm looking at options on what to do. Probably gonna do some online.
That's good stuff, Bob.
There you go, Bob. Well done.
How about 4 hours? Yeah, into 4 hours.
Yeah.
4 months into 4 hours. You only need a month at a time for an hour for a month of curriculum.
Hey, that's how it is sometimes. We all know that. We all know the struggle.
What was the question?
No, the question is, do you plan on going to, college or, just focusing on training or doing online school or?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up taking some online classes. I do want to go to college at some point. I've been applying and it's in the plan. It's just kind of figuring out how many classes I can take while balancing being in Europe.
For sure. And you don't have to have it figured out. You got plenty of time. Aidan, you said you already you have your degree, right? You are 5th year, so you have 1 degree at least.
Yeah.
Kind of tell me about your transition and moves between the few schools and kind of explain like the process, because it is very interesting, especially with kind of how easy it is now to transfer schools and stuff like that, and then also just the ability to gain a lot of knowledge from different coaches, different programs. You said you started at USC, which was in the Pac-12, so you competed against my Ducks, and then you go to the Big Ten at Michigan, and now and now you're in the SEC. So it's pretty interesting to see that. And so tell me a little bit about like the process with like moving schools. Like I know sometimes you lose credits and stuff like that. Well, like was there any issues with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm from Pittsburgh, and I was trying to get out of the cold weather. I wanted to go to USC, and at the time, they had a great multi-coach. The Decathlon's pretty, it's a pretty small community, and there's not a lot of coaches who really dedicate themselves to it. So I wanted to go out there. Ultimately, like my coach left. I learned that coaches are no more loyal than anything, in the game of track and field. So like, they got to go do what they got to do. And so I lost 2 coaches that year and then transferred to Michigan, which I was actually considering in high school as my second best choice. So I just transferred there without taking any other visits. I was like, I know I'm going to fit in Ann Arbor. And it was a great 2 years. But then again, my coach left after my second year. And so I graduated and finished. I finished in 3 years, undergrad. And so now I ended up, trying out Arkansas, which is one of the best programs, obviously, with a great decathlon coach, and the losing credits was easy. I mean, I didn't really lose many. I transferred as a freshman, and then after that, I graduated. So I'm in grad transfer now. But it was a really smooth process. The portal's nice, and obviously, while I was an undergrad, like NIL didn't exist, now it does. So there's a lot of benefits of being a college athlete right now.
Yeah. And real quick, because it says on this tweet right here, with your world, your ranking in the NCAA history, I would assume that's probably Ashton Eaton being number 1, right?
Yeah, your fellow Duck, man.
Yeah, my boy Ashton. So, and you compete for Puerto Rico, and I know you've competed for them at the international stage. What is your your goals moving forward here? Obviously, world champs being coming up this year, and whenever you score over 8,000 points, you're kind of in the conversation for a medal, at the world champs. So is that one of the goals you have this year? And kind of, walk me through what your plan is for this season. Are you gonna try to compete at the World Indoors in Serbia?
I don't know if I'm gonna unveil that on this. Who knows? It's up to my coach. But honestly, man, honestly, so like last summer was tough for me. I missed the Olympics. I was 15th in the world on the descending order list, but I didn't end up qualifying. I missed the standard, so that was tough being left out. So, but now I've got all the motivation to go out there, whether that's at World Indoors, but definitely World Outdoors, and literally try to go for a medal for sure. Like, I'm only 21 years old. But I think I'm rising up in the game. I'm an up and comer, and I think that I can compete at that level. So my plan is to go win NCAAs, obviously, like indoor, outdoor. You know what I mean? Take care of my competition here at home, and then go abroad and try to take home like some international medals for Puerto Rico.
What I would give to be 21 again. What I would give.
Right?
I wake up in the mornings a little bit sore, and I was like, man, when I was in college, I did not feel like this. I was doing the college thing, going out, having fun, whatever, show up to practice the next day, ready to go. But now if I stay up past 10 o'clock, like I will tonight, I'm trashed.
So that's funny.
So I love that you just mentioned Puerto Rico, because we saw in this past Olympics with Jasmine Camacho Quinn, right, taking down the gold. And hearing Puerto Rico and gold, or even podium for that matter, in the same conversation, somewhat of a rarity in track and field. But it seems that with you being an up and comer, and Jasmine, who has been able to be so dominant, especially last year, people have got to look out for that little island in track and field now, huh?
They do. Yeah, no, Jasmine's great. She's one of my good friends, and obviously we compete for the same country. But yeah, man, we're on the rise. Like, Puerto Rico's never won an Olympic medal or an Olympic gold medal on the men's side. No man has ever won an Olympic gold medal, so I'd hope to be that guy. I don't know if they've ever had like world championship medals or anything like that, but I doubt it. And there's just not that many athletes coming out of the island, but clearly that's changing.
Right. When you guys finally get a bobsled team, that's when you're on the map, though.
Cool runnings, man. I think I'm gonna do that. Once I'm done with decathlon, I think I'll get into like some winter sports for real.
What would you do?
There's a cool runnings too now.
That's right.
They sent there's a Jamaican bobsled team this year.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they sent a four.
Bro, that was my favorite movie growing up, so I was inspired. Genuinely, I would do bobsled. I got the foot speed. Kiss the egg.
Kiss the egg.
Yeah, no, they finally sent it back. I'm curious what sports you would actually do if you did move into the winter realm.
Yeah. No, I really think it would be bobsledding. I'm not even kidding. Because I mean, you just got to be fast, right? Lola Jones has done it. Jones has done it. Clearly, there's been other, there's speedsters who have done it. I think that would be a blast, just like flying down the ice. I don't know. I've never done that. I don't even know how to ice skate or anything. So we'll see how that goes.
It seems a lot more terrifying than the ski jump, to be honest. The skeleton's the most terrifying of the giant ice run thing. When you're on your stomach head first going down on a sled, that just seems like there's got to be a screw loose somewhere for you to sign the paperwork to sign up for that one. If you were in the summer games or a summer sport test, what would you be doing?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, probably something that was running. Or some endurance situation.
The correct answer is you can actually ski jump in the summer. They do have the technology for that. So you're like, I'm just gonna stick to this year round.
Yeah, let's make ski jumping and Nordic Combined a summer Olympic Games too. Every 2 years. I'm down.
Look, I don't understand.
They got skateboarding now. You might as well have the roller skis.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I mean, okay, I understand the basics of how they decided on the winter sports and the summer sports because of the cold. But like, there's snow and stuff in the summer in some places, like, right? And it's hot in the winter some places. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. It's like 80 degrees, right? So there's no skiing going on in Phoenix right now.
Yeah.
So we've got about 10 minutes.
80 degrees in the winter.
Oh, no, 80 degrees in the winter makes no sense to me. No.
I mean, hey, I love it because I can barbecue my turkey on Thanksgiving in shorts. I can get in the pool when I go home. It's nice. You guys are from both cold. All three of you guys are from cold weather areas, and I'm actually living in Annapolis, Maryland right now, which gets pretty cold. And I have to say, it's not my favorite. The cold weather is not necessarily for me, but I'll do it to sacrifice for my training.
It gives you a good excuse to sit inside and play Warzone for a few hours a day.
True, very true.
Right? I'm just saying.
That's the truth.
Yeah, if the weather is too nice, it's like, oh, I should be outside doing something. But fun Olympic fact. I love these tweets that we've been rolling in the entire show. These fun Olympic facts. Japan, the former Japan Nordic Combined skier, 2-time gold medalist, featured on a stamp in Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
What? See,
that's impressive.
That's big news.
Yeah, I know, right? If you were going to be on a stamp, Aidan, what country would you want it to be?
Right, Azerbaijan, clearly.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a track meet in Puerto Rico this year. So I'm excited to go out there. I don't know if it's going to be in San Juan. I've been to San Juan, but I think it's there's another major city. I can't think of it right now. But yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Yeah. It's exciting. I'm excited.
So what meet is this? Is it like a pro meet or something?
You know what? I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about it. Now 100,000 people might know there's a track meet in Puerto Rico, but
no, there are meets there. Like there's a meet in Carolina every year, so it's like there's meet pretty big.
Okay, so that might be it, but
yeah.
But for the most part, I'm excited. We used to go to the Jamaican track meets all the time. And we haven't been able to go the last 2 years because of COVID, and so it makes me a bit sad because I like Jamaica, I like the food and the atmosphere and stuff like that. So, where's your favorite place to compete?
Man, I mean,
Hayward Field
in the U.S.
Hayward Field.
No, definitely not. Right, the weather out there sucks. I'm sorry, the weather is no good in Hayward. Every time I go out there, it's cold. I don't know. Anyway. I like.
It was like 90,000 degrees at trials last year.
But I wasn't I didn't go to trials.
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican.
The week before was NCAA's and it was like 55. So I don't know what happened.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. That's crazy.
It was freezing. But I don't really have a preference, man. I just like I like Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is the best place.
That's a good answer. He's PR'd up. He's politically correct.
Well, I mean, you have what you're in the track capital of the world in Fayetteville versus Eugene is track town USA. Please debate amongst yourselves.
I think we got I don't know who has more pro. I think we got the best pro training group down here. That's just my opinion. We got a lot of good pros.
I mean, that's fair. You guys got some good pros, but I'm just saying, no one makes Arkansas, Fayetteville a destination to go to a track meet.
Oh, come on. Yeah, they do. This is a scenic place. You've never been down here.
People aren't flying there to go. I mean, they're not going out of their way to go watch the track meet. If they're like in Arkansas somewhere, they might drive, a couple hours to Fayetteville. But
we got Walmart down here, man. We got Walmarts all over the place. That's the biggest attraction.
That's good. Actually, last time I was at Fayetteville, there's like a Sonic across the street from the hotel, and I went crazy on like Sonic hot dogs and slushies. And I don't think I ran bad, but I don't actually think I won that meet, and that was my only loss in 2016. And I was like, dang, I shouldn't have been eating all that Sonic right before I competed.
Yeah.
But, hey, you live and learn. You live and learn.
You were still, I think, recovering from injury, Devon. Last year, there were 4 weeks of American Track League down there, and during the indoor season.
Yeah,
and everyone was showing up down there. Right, Fred Curley was down there.
It's a fast track. It is a fast track. I'll give him that.
Super fast.
It's a good venue to compete at. Tess, where's your favorite place to compete, or where's your favorite place you've been?
Obviously Sonic.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah.
Austria and Switzerland are beautiful places, but my favorite hill is probably in Whistler, Canada.
Oh,
okay.
That threw me for a ringer. I thought you were for sure going to say Europe, but Whistler, Canada. Canada does have some nice places, for sure. Some scenic.
It's my favorite hill. It's where my PR is.
Oh,
can't complain too much.
Well, see, that's how it works, right? Like when people ask,
and it's not bad looking either.
Oh, that's 100%. That's how it should be in sports. As an athlete, your favorite place is wherever you competed best at. You know, my favorite country is Croatia because that's where I run my fastest in Zagreb. I've only been to Zagreb, but Croatia's the best.
That's great. Yeah, we haven't heard that answer yet.
The smaller of the two. I have 97
97 what?
Oh, there you go.
meters.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
What are we talking about here? What's going on here? As far as places that you've traveled, take the hill out of the equation, though. Would it be Austria or somewhere in the Nordic area? Because that's what most folks have been saying on the show. Like when they travel abroad, that's the place to be. The food is good, the people are nice, the scenery is beautiful, the city is gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, I've done some traveling to Europe without like skiing or ski jumping and Nordic Combined skiing, and St. Anton is definitely one of my favorite places. It's a little resort town, but
where's that? What country?
It kind of reminds me of home. It's just kind of Austria.
Oh, Austria. Okay, that's pretty nice. I've never been there.
All the towns in Europe are just really cute. When you're not looking at like cities, you kind of feel like you're getting a flash from the past.
Oh,
that looks nice. I'm trying to go there. Let's get a meet in St. Anton, Austria.
Hey, that's St. Anton.
Yeah, dude, Bob is on it. Bob is on it with these tweets. He is on it with these tweets. What about you, Aidan?
Wait, what was the question?
No, like your favorite place. Like, it doesn't have to be competition wise.
Yeah, no, it's definitely Puerto Rico, man. I mean, obviously I got family down there, but it's hot. I really don't like the cold weather. Arkansas is even cold for me. So just being in the humidity, the heat, man, I can train year round. Like there's beaches. You can do anything.
Taxes.
Yeah, man. There's benefits in every way. Come on now.
Are you gonna move down to Puerto Rico post collegiately? Actually, you know what? I don't want to put that pressure on you because you're like you said, you're coach and.
No, I'll answer that.
I know your coach well. He's a good guy.
If my coach would move with me, I'd go to Puerto Rico next year. Shoot. Yeah.
Let's bring the whole group down there.
Yeah. When you're in the deck, is it a single coach or do you have? I mean, like you're down there in Fayetteville, you got the best shot putter in the world, in the history of the world, who is down there in Fayetteville, Ryan Krauser, right? So, is it one coach or do you kind of get to dabble with a bunch of different coaches in different disciplines?
I get to dabble a little bit with Ryan. He's helped out in some of the technical aspects of the shot, but really it's Coach Gefford. It's my multi-coach, and that's actually a blessing. Trying to coordinate between like 3, 4, or 5 coaches, which I've done in the past, is not really ideal for a multi. At least it's not my style. I like to have one guy I go to. He knows what he's talking about. He tells me what to do, and I do it. It makes like life so much simpler when you're at practice, like 6 hours a day, whatever, doing rehab, and everything's just so much easier when you have like one point of contact and like. You know what I mean? He can understand it. He was a multi himself, so.
There you go. So a lot of people will say, right, Ashton Eaton, greatest athlete of all time. They say the greatest athletes are always the decathletes. So I'm curious from your perspective, what does it take to be the greatest?
That's a tough question. That's pretty broad. What does it take to be the greatest at what? Anything or the decathlon?
Well, specifically in athletics. Obviously pulling a boat like Ryan right here in this tweet.
Yeah.
or whatever he's doing.
You're asking the wrong guy, man. I mean, Ryan's great. Ashton's great, and I'm just the young guy coming up. But I think that, what I've learned, I've talked to Ashton, personally, and for me, it's the discipline. What I've learned, just like day by day, it's a 10 event thing, and it's also like several years that it takes you to get good at this. So it's really just, chopping wood, carrying water, the simple basic tasks that you don't want to do just day in, day out. That's what compiles and that's what makes you great. And I realize that's actually the truth. And just finding like joy in the journey, like appreciating that. It's pretty boring and cliche, but like I think that's what's making me get better every day.
There you go. And so Tess, what about you? What do you think it takes to be great at ski jumping or Nordic Combined?
I would agree a little bit. Just getting out there and doing what you got to do. big part of it, I think, is just being able to get over the mental challenges too. I mean, yeah, some things just take time, and other things it takes pure focus.
All right, right on, right on. So before we get going, I know we touched on it earlier, but I just wanted to circle back to it because I don't know if we actually got a clear answer or not. But I'm just kind of curious to get your take on the fact that Nordic Combined in the Olympics exists for the men, but not for the women. And I'm just kind of curious why you think that is, and then what it's going to take to flip the script on that and get it so that Nordic Combined will be a women's Olympic sport in the near future, hopefully.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of inequality in even ski jumping up until 2014. Women's ski jumping wasn't a Olympic event, and we were the only two events that had a men's field but not a women's field. I've seen quite a few things talking about how the number of events aren't the same at the Olympics, men to women, but there's still like one sport that doesn't have any events. Nordic Combined has been in the Olympics since the first Winter Games, and I mean, there are all these theories about women in ski jumping and that they shouldn't do it because of how their hips were aligned and a bunch of things. But right now, I think it's mainly about field size. Like I said earlier, we're not a massive field. At our first World Cup, we had 30 athletes finish the both of the jumping and the cross country skiing. There was a couple more there that either didn't start, got DQ'd, or didn't finish. But I think that we're taking the steps to get there. We hit a bunch of the markers. There needs to be a world championship. We had that last year. We need to have World Cups. We had that last year. We have it this year as well. So I think it's just about taking the time. I think the steps should have been a little more in the past, but
yeah,
getting there.
But it just seems so odd because women's ski jumping is an event, women's cross country skiing is an event, but the sport that is simply put those two things is not an event. It just makes no sense. I don't know. I'm sure you don't know either. It's quite the anomaly. I'm just saying.
What were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
That's right. That's I like that. Well, guys, this has been a great conversation. It's just past 10 o'clock, so we're gonna let you go. We'll be here for the next 12 nights doing this same show. If you guys want to come back, by all means. It's a little late in Europe, but I mean, hey, if you're a night owl, by all means, Tess, a good old 3 a.m. live stream.
Or an early morning. It's like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, depending on where you're at. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, and Aidan, it was absolute pleasure meeting you. I hope to see you around this season. Best of luck with the end of
Thank you.
the
Indoor
this
season,
is it.
SECs.
Well, indoor season, yeah, but and then the finishing off your collegiate career. I don't want to see you at a fourth school. I want to see you go pro.
No.
Let's go.
That's the plan.
Let's do it.
Thanks
Awesome.
for having
All right.
me. It's been fun.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
absolutely. Devon, if you have any other questions to send them out.
No, I just want to say thank you guys for joining us. Tess, safe travels tomorrow to Europe. And
Thank
Aidan, I'm sure I'll see you around. And if you ever want to mix it up in the hurdles and you want to come to Annapolis, Maryland, hit me up. We'll get after it.
I'm down, man.
We'll get after it.
I'm there.
Awesome. Really quick before you get off, shout outs. Where can people find you on social media?
Tess, you got it.
Ooh, what am I?
I love it that you don't know your Instagram. I love that. No, I love the fact that you can't just rattle it off like that. It means that you're focused elsewhere in the right places.
I changed it recently.
Oh, no.
All right, we'll start with Aidan then. Aidan, where can we find you?
Yeah, it's just Aidan_Owens, AYDEN. So an unusual spelling, but yeah.
Easy enough.
Tess.Arnone.nc is mine.
There you go. Awesome.
Love
Oh,
it.
and look, it's going in the chat room right now. Bob, he's on point today. I'll tell you. If they gave out medals for live stream production, Bob,
You win gold.
Thanks, Bob.
well, at least
Someone
on the
just followed
podium.
me 4 seconds ago, so
There you go. There you go. See, it's working. This whole thing is working. All right. We're gonna let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to talk to you guys again real soon.
Peace out.
thank you.
There you go. And yeah, for everybody else, thank you so much again to our guests. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Of course, you can follow World's Greatest again on social media at World's Greatest Team on Instagram, at World's Greatest without any vowels on Twitter. That's WRLDSGRTST. And youtube.com/World's Greatest is where all of our long form content is. Some great documentaries, some great series. Devon, you're featured in a couple of those. The first ever of our Super Doc series was
That's
Devon
me.
Allen.
Yep.
I think interviewed in the New York City cafeteria before the Milrose games in like 2018. Great
2018,
talk.
yeah. A couple
Great
years
talk.
ago.
And then the one-on-one, which is still one of my favorite videos that you've ever been in, where you interview yourself.
Oh
That's
yeah,
a
and
good time.
I've gotten plenty of messages, like people that don't know about this video, and it just pops up on their suggested on YouTube, and they send me, they're like, bro, this was so funny. So hey, you guys do a good job. You guys do a good job.
We got to do that again with you though, because I've got so many more questions that you need to ask yourself.
And I've gotten to become a better actor, so I think we can make it a lot better.
There you go. So for tomorrow, again, we're back at 9:00 p.m. Ryan Krauser, who I initially mentioned, or I previously mentioned, coming to us from Arkansas, the best shot putter in the history of the universe, as far as I'm concerned. He's going to be on the show tomorrow. We also have brother and sister combo, Annika and Nicholas Malachinsky, Nordic Combined athletes. So they're going to be joining us. I am really excited to see if we can get Krauser on a downhill. That'd be fun to watch.
See, that's the thing we talked about with Logan, the other day, is talk about weight. Yep. I feel like Krauser could fly. He's super powerful. He's going to take that 300-pound body and just freaking accelerate down that hill.
Yeah,
we should get that. We should get that going. We should make like some kind of reality TV show where athletes of all different sports and events then compete in like random sports and events, right? Like baseball, darts, ping pong, ski jumping, stuff like that. That'd be pretty funny.
Ping pong, that's just because you can win that one.
You caught me.
There you go. Yeah, that'll be a fun show. We'll work on that. I mean, that the sky's the limit, but I mean, you also got to throw in some sort of like synchronized swimming there, because I mean, wouldn't you love to see the entire men's shot put team do that?
Oh, especially
that'd
especially
go
Krauser. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Well, thanks again for joining. I think you'll be back in a couple days, hopefully.
Well, no, I'll be back. I think I'm here tomorrow, but I'll be gone over the weekend. Well, you know what? If you need me, I'm here. If you don't, it's always great to see you. Thanks for watching.
Always a pleasure. All right. Thanks,
Peace
everyone,
out.
for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.